What if I told you that the woman you can't stop thinking about probably isn't the love of your life? She is a psychological addiction. You call it love, your friends call it dedication, movies call it romance. Psychology has another name for it: sick fancy. It is the unhealthy obsession with someone who gives you little or no emotional investment. The harder she ignores you, the harder you chase. The more distant she becomes, the more valuable she seems. You are not falling in love. You are trapped inside a neurological loop that is draining your confidence, your status, and your self-respect. Today, we are exposing exactly how this trap works and, more importantly, how to destroy it forever. Welcome to EvoLoveX, where men evolve, elevate, and excel. If you are serious about mastering psychology, relationships, confidence, masculinity, and high performance living, subscribe now. Because every week we break down the ideas that keep modern men weak and replace them with principles that build stronger, more disciplined men. Let's decode sick fancy. The first thing you need to understand is why your brain becomes obsessed with someone who doesn't seem interested. Most men assume they are experiencing love, but what is actually happening is a dopamine loop. Your brain hates unfinished stories. Every ignored message, delayed reply, mixed signal, or occasional compliment creates uncertainty, and uncertainty fuels dopamine. Contrary to popular belief, dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. It is the anticipation chemical. Your brain keeps whispering, maybe she'll text today. Maybe she'll change her mind. Maybe if I try harder, things will be different. That anticipation keeps you emotionally hooked. Psychologists call this intermittent reinforcement. It is the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. A slot machine doesn't reward you every time. It rewards you just enough to make you keep playing. Human relationships can work the same way. One warm conversation followed by days of silence. One compliment followed by emotional distance. One late night message followed by another week of being ignored. Every tiny reward convinces your brain that another one is just around the corner. Eventually, your ego starts making a dangerous mistake. It interprets emotional unavailability as high value. Silence becomes mystery. Distance becomes desirability. Rejection becomes motivation. That is not love. That is a neurological glitch that tricks you into chasing uncertainty. Unfortunately, society has made this problem even worse. Movies, television, and romantic stories have conditioned men to believe that persistence is the ultimate proof of love. We have all seen the storyline where the hero refuses to give up, keeps chasing the woman, and eventually wins her heart. It creates great entertainment, but it creates terrible relationship advice. The dating world of 2026 doesn't reward relentless pursuit. It rewards emotional intelligence, confidence, and mutual investment. When someone repeatedly shows disinterest, believe their actions instead of inventing stories to explain them. Too many men convince themselves that she's just confused, scared, or secretly waiting for them to prove themselves. In reality, they are investing premium emotional energy into someone who is making almost no investment in return. That is not romantic. It is poor emotional investing. High-value men understand that attention is one of their most valuable resources. They don't spend it where there is no return. So how do you break this cycle? You stop trying to control her attention and start controlling your own. Attention is power. Wherever your attention goes, your emotions follow. Wherever your attentions go, your decisions follow. Instead of obsessing over someone else's choices, reclaim ownership of your own focus. One of the most powerful principles you can adopt is matching energy. If someone consistently invests in you, invest back. If they disappear, you don't chase. You continue building your own life. That means no double texting, no writing long emotional paragraphs, no spending hours analyzing social media posts or trying to decode hidden meanings. The objective isn't to manipulate someone into chasing you. The objective is to become emotionally independent. When you stop giving away your attention for free, you regain your emotional leverage. Some people call this the mirror effect. Human beings naturally notice changes in attention and investment. When you stop over pursuing and begin focusing on yourself, the emotional burden shifts. Whether the other person notices or not becomes irrelevant because you have already achieved the real victory. You have stopped making your happiness dependent on someone else's validation. The strongest defense against sick fancy isn't another dating trick. It is purpose. A man with a meaningful mission has very little time to obsess over one indifferent person. When your calendar is filled with productive work, your body is becoming stronger. Your finances are improving. Your friendships are healthy and your personal goals excite you. One person's approval becomes a tiny part of your life instead of your entire emotional world. This is what an abundance mindset really means. It doesn't mean believing every woman wants you. It means understanding that your happiness doesn't depend on one woman choosing you. Men who build themselves become naturally more attractive because they project confidence instead of desperation. They invest in fitness, communication, financial growth, leadership, emotional control, and discipline. Confidence isn't something you pretend to have. It is something you earn by keeping promises to yourself. Now let's talk about how to recognize sick fancy before it takes over your life. Ask yourself a few honest questions. Do you think about her far more than she thinks about you? Do you replay tiny conversations over and over in your head? Are you creating fantasies about a future that has almost no evidence in reality? Do you ignore repeated signs that she is simply not interested? Are you constantly hoping she'll suddenly change? If you answered yes to several of those questions, the obsession has already started. Fortunately, it can be stopped. The first step is to stop initiating contact for a while. Remove constant reminders by muting her social media instead of checking it every day. Redirect your mental energy toward measurable goals. Join a gym, learn a new skill, build your business, expand your social circle, spend time with people who genuinely value your presence. Protect your attention because your attention shapes your future. The biggest transformation happens when you stop being reactive and start becoming proactive. Reactive men allow other people's behavior to determine their mood. Proactive men decide where their energy goes regardless of what anyone else does. One group constantly chases validation. The other builds a life so valuable that validation becomes unnecessary. Here's the truth every man needs to hear. Real attraction can only exist where both people are free to walk away. The moment one person becomes emotionally dependent while the other remains emotionally detached, the relationship loses balance. Walking away isn't losing. Walking away is refusing to lose yourself. You don't need everyone to choose you. You need the discipline to choose yourself first. The moment your purpose becomes stronger than your obsession, sick fancy dies. And when that happens, your confidence, clarity, and self-respect begins to return. If this video made you rethink the way you approach relationships, hit the like button because it helps more men discover content like this. Subscribe to EvoLoveX and turn on notifications because every week we explore psychology, masculinity, discipline, relationships, leadership, and personal mastery without the sugar coating. Leave a comment below and tell us, have you ever experienced sick fancy? And what helped you break free? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Until next time, remember our philosophy: evolve, elevate, excel.